like I mentioned, like before we start recording, like I so much excited to have you on the show. Like, and this topic, happiness, I always thought like this is such a simple topic, but you have done such a major research. Like you have written entire thesis on it. So there's really lot of things we can really talk about it. But before any that, I really wanna ask is that like you have done a lot of research, you have written thesis. Could you tell me about your childhood? Like what why are you so passionate about learning more and more about happiness? What motivates you to learn more about it?
Mm, this is actually a question I have been reflecting on lately, because, growing up, I didn't even know that a happiness researcher was a job, if I'm being totally honest. I didn't know that you could even study happiness until about 6 years ago.
Mm,
So, one thing that I do has been consistent my entire life is I've always been passionate about health and wellness. And, I believe that, in this beautiful, precious life that we have, don't we want to live the best possible life that we can? And so how do we do that? And I have always been fascinated by that question. What can we do to turn the volume up on our life? What can we do to show up and live in the biggest, boldest way? As opposed to the disease management model in health, for example, where it's when something's wrong, we fix it. What I'm more passionate about is what's going well and how do we amplify that?
yeah.
And so my passion for that led me to learn that happiness and health are highly correlated. And we see in the data, like when you compare happy people to unhappy people, happy people have lower rates of cardiovascular disease. They have stronger immune systems. They heal faster from injury. They live longer. They're more creative. They're better problem solvers. They're more altruistic. They're more likely to volunteer both their time and or their money. So when I learned all of that, it really opened my eyes and I thought, wow, this is such a fascinating topic. And so I wanted to learn more. And then from a personal perspective, the other piece of it is that when I first started learning about that, first of all, when I learned that you could study happiness, because I didn't know that for most of my adult life so far, I thought, I reflected on the question, Gillian, are you as happy as you possibly could be? And if I got really honest with myself, I thought, no, like I think I could be happier. And so from that lens, I put on my research hat because what I'm really good at is research. What I love is research. And so I thought, if I'm not as happy as I possibly could be, and I have research skills, why don't I use those research skills to try to figure out how to be happier? So from a personal perspective, from a health and wellness perspective, this is just a path that I'm so grateful to be on, so thrilled to be on, and have learned so much so far. And I'm so excited to see kind of where it goes from here.
Um, Thank you so much. But you've mentioned like, is it really true? Like, happy person lives longer?
Yes. Yeah.
What's the science behind that? Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting data. One of the really big studies that's often cited around this is the Harvard study of adult development. And so they have a really big data set where they followed Harvard graduates and then population matched people for their entire lifespan. So we can
mm,
start to see some really interesting longitudinal data. So longitudinal is where you follow the same person over multiple time points, as opposed to other type of research where you go in, you observe something, and then
yeah.
that's the end of the study. So as we start to get longer data with bigger population sets, we can start to be more confident in some of the findings. And so that's one of them. And I think when we, not only is the length of life, really a piece of it, but it's also quality of life, right? If we live to 100 and we're really sick for 50 of those years, versus if we live to 70 and our
Yeah,
health and
yeah.
vital, like what would you choose, right? So there's two pieces. There's longevity and there's also quality of life. And what we see with happiness is that as compared to people that are less happy, the happier people not only see an increase in the duration or the length of their life, but also in the quality of their life. And to me, that's where the secret sauce is, because we don't want to just go through life, right? We want to live life. We want to show up and have that quality of life as well.